Kyrie Irving was robbed. We're going to talk about it here on Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein. Welcome in. And I can't believe when I saw the All-Star reserves named last night that Kyrie Irving wasn't on the list. But I'm also going to tell you why it may not be such a bad thing overall. Before we get into today's show, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Coop27. Always giving you guys the latest up-to-date Mavericks news and rumors, analyzing games, etc. We'll be tweeting about the game tonight against the Detroit Pistons. So stay tuned and lock me in at Jeff_Coop27. I know most of the real ones on this channel follow me already, but if you haven't, please go ahead and give me a follow. Kyrie Irving this season has been really, really good for the Mavericks, despite missing a handful of games. You'd say and look at his stats and say that his averages are down, but I don't really think they are. He's still averaging over 24 points, right at about 5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and the efficiency numbers are still fantastic. And when you look at who was selected over Kyrie to get that All-Star nod, it kind of just blows my mind if we're being honest. Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder got the nod. Kyrie averaging almost 4 more points. He's shooting better from the field and from three. And I do understand the whole sentiment that the one seed, the best team in the NBA, so to speak, has to have two guys. So they get Shea, they get Jalen Williams as well. But Kyrie 100% deserved to be an All-Star. However, I'm not too bent out of shape about it because you could spin this into saying that it might even be a good thing, considering Kyrie has shouldered so much of the load for this Mavericks offense. He's had to do everything as far as ball handling goes and initiating offense when Luka has been out. And he was obviously snubbed. I don't think there's any question about that whatsoever, and you always want to see your own guys in the All-Star game. But getting the week off to rest and recover, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. And he should have a chip on his shoulder for the rest of the season because he wasn't selected by the coaches, which is who selects the All-Star reserves. It's not the fans. It's the coaches. It's his peers that select him. So he left off the initial roster. Maybe he's named as an injury replacement in the next couple of weeks, but I expect Kyrie to be playing with an extra chip on his shoulder, and with Luka coming back, hopefully those guys can be fresh and ready to go for the second half of the season. And it is the first time since Luka's rookie season in 2018-19 that the Mavericks have not had an All-Star. It's really weird to even kind of consider because Luka is one of the best players in this league. He obviously hasn't played enough games this year. Probably wouldn't have played it in anyways given his injury status. But first time in a long time that the Mavs have not had an All-Star. So that's another note as well, and hopefully another added motivation point for this team going forward into the second half. I want to hear from you guys down in the comment section, though. Do you think Kyrie Irving deserved to be an All-Star? I didn't even make no an option on here because it's obviously yes. Type Y for yes. Type HY for hell yes. I'm going to type my HYs because Kyrie 100% deserved to be an All-Star. But like I said, may not be the worst thing in the world. We'll get to the latest Mavericks trade rumors here in just a few moments, but I do need to tell you guys about our sponsor, which of course is PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, and the big game is almost here, and it is now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. PrizePicks is also giving away 1 free pick for the big game, where Patrick Mahomes will only need to throw 1 yard, and if you're correct on at least 1 more stat projection, you can win some real cash. Also, check out the promos tab to tail any of our Super Sweat Millie Winners big game lineups. If you tail a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of up to $1 million in promo funds. PrizePicks is also the best place to get real money action in over 30 states, including California, Georgia, Texas, and Florida, and they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Now you're asking, how do you play PrizePicks? It's super easy. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code CLNS to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It is guaranteed. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS on your screen right now to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 lineup. It is PrizePicks. Run your game. I thought this was an interesting trade rumor that popped up here in the last couple of days. The Atlanta Hawks are rumored to be open to shopping Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Hawks. And Marc Stein says there's whispers they could be interested in moving him. And we know that the Mavericks have had interest in the past. Bogey has been a very consistent scorer in this league. Now, he's not having a good season, having the worst season of his career, basically, where he's averaging just 10 points and an awful shooting percentage, 37% from the field and just 30% from three on over 6 attempts. But look at the last 3 seasons, 15 points, 14 points, 17 points, and you look at the efficiency numbers as well, shooting in the high 30s and 22-23. He shot over 40% from three. This is a guy that I really like, despite him having a bad year. There's a couple of things about him I think would make him interesting to the Mavs. Number one, he is very close with Luka, and they have that Balkan connection. So that's a factor that you got to put in there as well. Number two, I think his contract is pretty affordable, and it's in line with what the Mavericks timeline looks like. This year, making $17 million. Next year, only $16 million, so it's a descending contract. And then there's a team option for the 26-27 year at that same $16 million as well. So theoretically, if he had another bad season next year and the Mavs just wanted to cut bait, they could easily do so, and he'd become a free agent. And I really wouldn't hate this trade, if I'm being honest with you. He's not what the Mavs need, but it could be an opportunistic move if the Atlanta Hawks are desperate to get rid of Bogey. And I don't know if they're going to be super desperate, but I think there could be a deal to be had here. However, it would force you to make another move because you'd be getting rid of Dwight Powell and Maxi Kleber in this trade to make the money work, meaning you would have to acquire another big because you'd be left with just Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, who's hurt right now. I know you signed Kyler Kelly to a 2-way contract, but you're not doing anything with him and he's not making any impact. So you'd have to make another move if you were to acquire Bogdan. But this is sort of the trade framework that I think they would look at. It'd be Maxi Kleber, Jaden Hardy, and Dwight Powell. That gets you to Bogdan $17 million, plus multiple draft picks, draft capital, whether it's a first-round pick, a second, a couple seconds, etc. There certainly would be draft capital involved here. And I'd be interested to see if this was something that the teams would work out. My guess is Atlanta would want something more than that. The problem is I'm not giving up Quentin Grimes, PJ Washington, or Daniel Gafford in a deal for Bogdanovic. I would give up those 3 guys and the draft capital that I mentioned earlier. I'm just not sure it would be worth the Mavs giving up one of the guys on screen right now because I'm higher on Quentin Grimes than most. I really think he's going to be a key piece of this team going forward. So I'm not giving him up. Washington and Gafford are self-explanatory given how good they've been over the last 10 games, especially when this team has been decimated by injury. So this is the trade that I would offer them. And I know it's not a sexy trade whatsoever to the Hawks, but I'd be like, here, take it or leave it. And if they leave it, I'd be perfectly okay with moving on. Interesting to follow here in the last few days what happens with Bogdan Bogdanovic. But I want to hear from you down in the comments before we get on out of here. Do you want the Mavs to trade for Bogdan? Let me know down in the comments. Type T for trade or type P for pass. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. And my final take on it is this. I think for the right price, I'd be in on a Bogdan trade. But like I said, don't do it just to make a move because it would create another hole. If the Hawks want you to bite on that opportunity and they take your offer of Hardy, Kleber, Powell, and a couple of draft picks, then you do it. Otherwise, I say you move on to the next trade target. So we'll see what happens here in the final 6 days of NBA trade season. And of course, if anything happens, we'll have you up to date here on the channel. So hit that subscribe button right now. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. We'll keep you guys covered with the games over the weekend. Pistons tonight and Cavaliers on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you guys soon.